Hello, Clarice. Hello, everyone. Today, we're talking about one of my favorite movies of all time, Silence of the Lambs. And joining me today is writer, artist, letterer, publisher, marketer, Mr. Jack Markham. How are you?
Fucking hell. Good morning, Dr. Lecter. Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. I'm really excited to actually review a really good film for once.
Yeah.
Because we've had a few dodgy ones recently, so I'm excited to do this. This is awesome.
Yeah. What would be the last good movie we did? It might have been The Rocketeer.
Yeah, Rocketeer was good. Yeah, I mean we've done a few. Jesus, we've done so many at this point. I'd say we've done a few bangers
Yeah. Yeah, we've done
in there. Yeah.
like
Um,
Hellboy
but
was really
this one
good.
was particularly special. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I think this movie is great. I would love to go through this movie scene by scene because there's so much in every scene to talk about. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I did not have time to prepare for that. So we will we'll go through as much as possible and pick out pick out select scenes we want to really dive into. Before we begin, do we recommend people watch the movie before we spoil it? Yes, I definitely do. What about you?
Oh, hard yes,
Yeah,
definitely, 100%. If you haven't seen this already, right, and like did you notice lately, Stephen, that there's a lot of these Netflix documentaries about murderers and serial killers, and
yeah,
like people are interested in this kind of stuff, right? So if you haven't seen Silence of the Lambs, like just just stick it on. If you're interested in murder and all this psychiatric stuff, it's yeah, definitely recommend. Even if you're not really interested in that, it's still a banging film.
it's
It's
just
great.
a great film. Like
Yeah.
it's top tier in every aspect of filmmaking, from the direction, the editing, the performances. The dialogue is fantastic. I love the dialogue in this movie. The back and forths between Hannibal and Clarice are just masterful. I'd be hard pushed to find many
Yeah,
flaws in
and
this.
every like scene in it has yeah, and I would say that every scene has like hidden details that makes you want to go back and watch it again.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
there's loads of hidden moments in there,
So
and
I would
yeah,
class this movie as an absolute masterpiece. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it and then come back to listen to this. If you have watched it, then pull up a chair, a hot cup of tea, and listen to us ramble about it for about an hour.
here's a recommendation for you, right?
Yeah.
This is one of these ones that is debatably a 10 out of 10. Like it's really high up there.
Oh
Like
yes.
it's like you said, it's very hard to be mad at this film over anything. Like it's I don't have any hang-ups that are really that notable, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because
I
it's
mean,
just I've nothing but praise to give it. Really, it's great. Yeah.
like you might find one or two things here and there. Like it's hard to find any film where you won't find maybe a little something here and there, but I don't think it's enough to like bring it down from like a 10 out of 10 movie.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
right, so go watch it. There's our recommendation. It's absolutely fantastic. So we're going to dig into it now in a little bit more detail. We'll talk about some select scenes and some of the character arcs and some of the little details and what they're trying to achieve and all that kind of lovely writing stuff. So
Mm,
yeah, the movie begins with Clarice, and she's training because she wants to be an FBI agent. And we see that Jack Crawford wants to see her boss. And as she's going off, we've seen that the man who delivered the message kind of stares at her as she heads off. And there's going to be a lot of that in the movie, of men staring at Clarice and flirting with her and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
yeah,
And anytime Clarice is in conversation with a man, the man is looking directly at the camera, so you feel like you are Clarice
yeah, I love that idea. I love that
in these
decision.
weird, awkward interactions where
Yeah,
men are staring at her.
yeah, you
Um,
feel like they're looking right at you.
Yeah, I know it is kind of uncomfortable, and
It puts
it
you.
kind of just begs the question: like, is this something that happens to women in these kind of jobs all the time? You
Yeah,
know, I mean, I couldn't tell you because I'm a man, but
Yeah.
it is an interesting way to do it, really.
Yeah, it puts
Way to
you in
film it.
it puts you in her shoes, and you'd have to imagine it happened back then quite a lot, because I don't think women were in this position a lot around this time. Um, I've heard this film is actually responsible for a lot of women wanting to join the FBI. That's
Yeah, and
something.
that's kind of what makes her an interesting main character, just as a job title, like, because she's a woman in the, I think it was the 80s or 90s when this was made, and she's an FBI agent, and that's already interesting,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
how many women do you know who are FBI agents? Like, it's like you don't meet them every day, so
No. Um, but yeah,
automatically she brings you in. It's like, what led you? And then you as a viewer kind of want to know what led her to take that job, and
yeah,
throughout the film, of course, we find out more and more about Clarice, and then it all adds up.
yeah, yeah. We
But yeah,
fight.
I love Clarice. I think she's great in this. I think the actress who played her does a great job as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say that in a bit later on, but I'll say it now that she often gets overshadowed because Hopkins' performance is so iconic, but she is absolutely fantastic in this movie. I think Jodie Foster.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just on that opening scene, we see the man staring at her, and that'll happen quite a bit. But and we'll see lots of people flirting with Clarice throughout the movie. But
Yeah,
sexuality is a big part of this movie, and we'll go.
yeah,
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 we'll,
very much so. I mean, also during the opening scene where she's running through the woods, there are like I heard somewhere that they're like birds chirping in the background, and that's because she's Clarice Starling, and the birds are starlings, and like that's
oh
only one little Easter egg. Like this film is so full of Easter eggs like that,
yeah,
you know. Um, like nearly every scene has like hidden layers, and that's what I was saying earlier
yeah,
about these like little hidden gems in it. You know.
and lines that characters say that you could read lots into.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So in Jack Crawford's office, Clarice sees that he's working on the Buffalo Bill case, and Crawford tells her how well she's doing, and I like this detail because he brings up a test where she got an A, and Clarice reminds him that it was actually an A minus. This really tells us something about Clarice's character and how well she wants to perform. And I love that it's stuck in her mind that it wasn't an A, it was an A minus. It was just a neat detail that tells us something about Clarice. And
yeah. She's self-critical. She wants to be perfect.
she's
She
very
wants to be the best.
she's very driven, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
And
Yeah, very, very determined. Yeah.
Crawford has been interviewing serial killers, but one in particular, a certain Hannibal the Cannibal, isn't cooperating. So he wants Clarice to go in to the asylum where he's being held and interview him. And we see there's more to that than meets the eye initially. Um, so Clarice heads off to go interview Hannibal, and we meet Dr. Chilton, he's a piece of shit. I th-
Yeah, man. He's a bit of a creep towards her, Um,
yeah,
like
this
she talks to a lot of men in this film, and this lad made me the most. He made me uncomfortable, and he's not even a fucking psychopath. Like he's a doctor, but
yeah,
it's just the way he talks to Clarice is very just so unprofessional, and so yeah, he's trying to hit on her basically, and
yeah.
he's like, he looks like he's 20 years older than her,
The
you know.
actor
Um,
portrays it really well. Like he just makes you feel like he just makes your skin crawl. Um,
yeah, he's sleazy. He's
yeah,
very sleazy. Yeah.
yeah. As you said, he does try and ask her out on a date.
I
Um,
know it's so weird, man. It's like
Cl-
fucking.
Clarice just can't get away from this shit. Like,
It's
uh,
the first time he's met her as well.
yeah. So yeah, he brings her to Lecter, and he gives her a list of rules to follow, which interestingly will all be broken later on. Um, he tells this tells us a lot about Dr. Chilton. He's telling Clarice what Hannibal had done to a nurse, and it was very gruesome. Hannibal bit into her face and swallowed her tongue and all this. And as Chilton's explaining what happened, he says it with a sense of admiration, and he shows very little empathy for the victim. So it does make him look a bit like like you said, he's not a psycho, but he very well might be. It's just,
Yeah, he's one of those guys who's one bad day away.
yeah.
You know.
But yeah, he's
Yeah.
just, it's just very interesting that
Yeah.
he just, he's saying it more with a sense of admiration than anything else. Like yeah, it's interesting.
I know, and he mentions it's like, oh, and Hannibal's heart,
Say again?
Lecter's heart rate didn't go over 80. He makes a comment like that, and it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, but what about your one who's got her face bitten? He
yeah.
doesn't really. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. He's kind of
He's almost saying it with
not really
this
arsed by
kind
the
of,
fact that the nurse got bitten.
I
Mm.
think, if I remember correctly, he's got like a partial smile on his face, like just admiring the whole thing. Like, yeah, he's
Yeah, he's shady.
yeah, Chilton, as you say, is probably not too many steps away from being locked up himself. um,
Well, look, it's all down to decisions, man.
yeah. Um,
Like, yeah,
yeah, so Clarice is passing by some of the, on her way to Hannibal, she passes by some of the deranged prisoners before getting to Hannibal himself. And this was an interesting choice because you see, as she's walking by, the prisoners, they're all acting very wacky and unhinged and all this. And then we get to Hannibal and he's just standing there all calm and just staring. And it's an interesting contrast. Um,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's very unsettling in its own way. Like she walks by Miggs, who's very unhinged, and then there's another fella, and then we see Hannibal just standing there. It's interesting. It kind of separates him from the rest.
Do you know the first time I watched this film? I think I was about 13, right? And I remembered very little from it because I think I was watching it with friends. But the shot of Hannibal just standing there in his cell just like stayed with me. It's just one of these, like, it's so like disturbingly, like, it's like peaceful, but it's like the peace feels wrong. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yes, yes,
It's hard to describe what it makes me feel, that just seeing him stand there perfectly still, knowing who he is and what he's doing. It's very odd. Like, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because even in Crawford's office, when Hannibal's brought up, Clarice says Hannibal the cannibal, so we know he eats people. um, and yeah, so
Yeah, and when you think cannibal, you think, a savage. Like,
mm,
he's the manic one or something. And he's so peaceful when we meet him. He's like a statue,
yeah. I
you
think
know?
one of
So yeah, it's a contrast for sure.
I remember Anthony Hopkins in an interview saying that one of his inspirations for his performance was, do you know Hal from 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yeah,
Yeah, apparently
yeah.
that was one of his inspirations for like how to speak and all that kind of stuff and tone. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, one thing I really like about Hannibal is this is a great way of making you feel uneasy about with him because he, apart from all the stuff we've learned, but he's kind of, he comes across as very polite and he's well spoken, but then he'll suddenly flip and say something that'll really rattle you. You know, like when he was talking to the senator and he was kind of politely talking to her, and then he says that line about, "Oh, when your daughter's on the slab, where will you feel it?" and all that. So these things just come out of nowhere sometimes, and it really unsettles you around him.
Yeah. And when they're talking, right, and when Clarice meets him for the first time, it's almost like a duel, because she's a very determined person, but she obviously has a very traumatic past, and he's very intelligent,
Mm.
you know. And when they're doing their back and forth, you can feel the tension, and it's
Yeah,
like both parties, you're hanging on every single word of this conversation. And
yeah.
it's very rare in a film where a conversation will hold you all the way through to the end.
Oh,
But
it's
this is one of these rare occasions where it happens. It's like the only other one that springs to mind is the scene in The Dark Knight, the interrogation scene.
mm,
It's this and that. And they're the two conversations, I think, the most memorable conversations in cinema history.
they're certainly up there. Yeah, and like
Um,
the two of
that's
these
just
on,
my take on this scene. I think it's just, yeah, I think it's masterfully written
yeah,
the way they did this one.
yeah. I like the way you said duel because that's the way I write arguments or conversations between characters sometimes is it is like a duel where you have attack and counter attack, adapting to the other person's strategies and all that. And it is very much like a verbal duel. I think
Yeah,
that's a
because she goes in trying to kind of pull one over on him, and he makes it very clear very soon that he's having none of that. That's not happening. He's too smart.
yeah,
She's not going to pull anything over on him.
yeah.
You know.
Although she eventually
Yeah, it's just
does.
it's excellently done. Mm.
She eventually does because she does lie to him and he does fall for it later on. But
Mm.
and what I like about that is there's a scene where he goes, "Don't lie to me, Clarice, because I'll know." But then
Yeah,
she does actually lie very well to him later on, and he falls for it when it comes to
yeah,
making
but
the deal.
I would argue that like she's kind of in the palm of his hand the whole time. You know, that's
For
what I got
most
off
of it,
there.
yeah.
The
For most of
impression.
it, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and we learned that Hannibal has a very good sense of smell, and he has a very good visual memory. So his sense of smell is almost supernatural. I would say he could tell what skin cream or skin lotion or whatever
That's
Clarice.
right. He comments on her perfume and her skin lotion.
Yeah,
Sorry, her face lotion, face cream. Yeah,
yeah,
when she comes in. Yeah.
and he knows what one she usually wears, but he knows that she's not wearing it today. So he's very very attuned to smell.
Well, I have a theory about this whole smell thing, right? Because he did comment on that, but like, could it be because he's been in the cell so long that he rarely gets other aromas, and he kind of knows which doctor is coming by their smells
Yeah, just
because
what?
he's been
Just
there.
1 second. I just need to pause for just 1 second.
Okay, I was actually
And we're back. We just had to pause there for a second. Yeah, so the back and forth between Clarice and Hannibal are the real highlight of this movie, and um, their back and forth throughout the movie are just incredibly well written. And as I said in the intro, this is a masterclass in dialogue. Um,
yeah, yeah,
and as I was saying, like Hannibal, he'll sometimes just fire stuff at you to kind of unsettle you and rattle you. And Hannibal mocks her. And as we were saying about the dialogue being like a duel, so Hannibal mocks her and calls her poor white trash. And then Clarice responds by telling Hannibal to turn his analytical mind on himself. And she says that she thinks that he's afraid to do so. And then he defends by coming back, and we get the one of the most famous lines in cinema history when Hannibal comes back and says about the census taker and eating his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti, and then he does that. I can't do it. I tried to do it, but I can't. You know that noise he makes.
yeah,
um,
yeah,
that's great because Clarice is
yeah.
pushing him, and then Hannibal responds by reminding her that he's a monster and that she should be careful. It's great stuff. It's a great back and forth. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's Hannibal reminding her that he is a monster at the end of the day. Excuse me.
And it's such a contrast because he's very tidy looking and he's very like well groomed and he's very well mannered and
Mm,
he's very intelligent, but he is a maniac at the end of the day. Like,
yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And
it's just he doesn't appear as one, and that's what's so kind of perplexing about him, I think.
yeah, yeah. You get a glimpse of
His appearance matched to with his criminal history.
yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently, he got that sound he makes. Apparently, that was inspired by Bela Lugosi's Dracula, which is a great choice because he's like, I'm a monster, and he emulates that same sound. I thought that
yeah,
was really interesting. That was cool. A little bit of inspiration. So
mm.
he tells Clarice to leave, and then that's when one of the inmates, I think his name Multiple Migs, I think his name is. Uh, he
That's
flings
right. Yeah,
he flings his stuff at her.
he tosses one out and flings his jip at her like a fucking degenerate.
It's so
Jesus,
nasty. It's
it is
so
horrible to look at. It's my least favorite moment in the whole fucking film. To be
it's
honest,
so
it's just
awful.
so disgusting. Can you? I'd say that's probably the most disturbing thing that day that happened to her. Never mind the conversation with the maniac she just had. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
um, yeah, that's something you'd never forget if someone did that to you.
yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's
Jesus, it's
awful.
gross. But okay. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's not linger on that.
Yeah, no.
But it is actually it is interesting to think about in the way that if Miggs didn't do this, the rest of the plot doesn't happen. So him flinging his jizz at her, it's actually very important to the plot.
Okay, you have to fucking clue me in here. How the fuck does that impact anything?
Because she's about to leave, and then that happens, and that's when Hannibal calls her back. So it's because he did that that Hannibal calls her back, because
Hmm.
Hannibal calls her
He does
back.
call her back,
No, he calls her
but
back.
isn't it the case that he hasn't seen a woman in ages? And well, okay, because I suppose, but it's like she didn't really get what she wanted off him, so there was a chance she was going to come back anyway. No.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if Hannibal would have shut her out forever, but he calls her back and he says that because of what Miggs did, he says that discourtesy is unspeakable for him. So that's when
Hmm.
he kind of does this to make up for what happened because Miggs's actions were so, awful. Or it's almost like Hannibal sees as like just really bad manners, and as he said, discourtesy is unspeakable. So he gives her a clue about a former patient of his, Miss Moffat, and yeah, so Miggs might be responsible for Catherine surviving at the end. It's
Gee,
just
that's a hot take on Silence of the Lambs I've never heard of.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, moving on. Moving on.
Well, it's just that's what prompts.
Let's
That's
get
what
away from the jizz.
that's. Let's not linger on it. All right, moving on. So as Clarice walks back to her car, she begins to cry because of everything that just happened, which is very understandable. And I like that we see her vulnerable side here. I think it's great. Um, and there's a great there's a great example here of the editing in a movie saying something meaningful about a character. So we were talking about Madam Web, and I brought up in that how I don't think the camera work or editing add anything of substance to the movie. But this is a great
um,
example. Yeah.
1 second. Do you mind if we just stop again? Because to be honest with you, you're cutting out like a lot um, on my end.
Okay, hold on. And we are.
It's actually much clearer now.
Yeah, we're back. We had. Oh, do you know what? It's just all this high tech technology. It just gets the better of us sometimes. But we're
Yeah.
back, and we will keep on rolling. So yeah, I was just saying there about how the editing in a movie can say something meaningful about the character, and yeah, we were talking about Madam Web a few weeks ago, and how I was saying that the camera work and editing in that I don't think adds anything of substance. But here's a good example of the editing saying something meaningful about a character. So Clarice is crying, and then we jump cut to her shooting her gun and firing, shooting her gun at a firing range, with a more ferocious look on her face. And this little bit
Mm.
of editing tells us who Clarice is. She can be shaken, but she will bounce back and she will move forward with determination. So I like that choice, and as I said, that's a good example of the editing saying something about the character. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, go for it.
I would agree. I think it was smart to have that shot of her crying in the car, but it is effective in a way that it's like you said, the next time we see her, she's holding a gun,
Yeah,
and it's like yeah, like she doesn't linger on this fucking horrible thing
yeah,
that she's just after doing.
yeah,
It's like
yeah. She,
it doesn't
she
stop her. Yeah,
yeah. When she
good.
falls down, she'll get right back up and keep going. And the editing communicates that to us. And Clarice is
Mm.
also she's very competent at what she does because she figures out a lot of this stuff throughout the movie. She's not just relying on people giving her the information. And yeah, I think overall she's just a fantastic character. I like her a lot as a character. Um,
Yeah, so do I. And I know this is a bit off topic to this particular one, but they do follow this film up with I think there's two or three sequels after this, isn't there?
yeah, there's Red Dragon, there's Hannibal, and isn't
And
there?
in the second one, it's a different actress, and I think that was I think that was a big mistake because it's Jodie Foster, right? That's who plays her in this. That's her name,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, she's not in the second one, and it's kind of it distances you from it a little bit. I think it takes away from it not having her in it.
yeah. I
Um,
think I
in
think
my
whenever
opinion.
they change an actor or an actress, it does damage whatever it is, a little bit because you're attached to one and then they suddenly change it. It can often feel like it's a different person altogether, as in the
Hmm.
character feels like a different person. But I think Jodie Foster just wasn't interested in doing any more.
I
Um,
wouldn't be surprised if she didn't have to, because I'd say this one is like, this was her big debut as an actress, and it was like a smash hit, and she probably figured she didn't need to go back to it, or maybe she didn't want to. Yeah, I don't know.
mm,
Could have been a number of reasons.
yeah, I'm not sure
Hmm.
when her big debut would have been because I know she's been around for a long time. Um,
Hmm.
was she in? Was it her that was in Taxi Driver?
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
blonde in that, wasn't she?
Hmm.
She had blonde hair in it. Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk now about the scene where. So this is kind of multiple scenes, but we'll kind of wrap it up all as one. But Hannibal wants Clarice to tell him her worst childhood memory, and she tells Hannibal the story of when she was younger and her father died. I think it was just a random thing where was it like a just like a basic robbery gone wrong sort of thing. I can't remember, but yeah, her father died when she was quite young, and that hints at maybe this is why she wanted to join the FBI, possibly.
Hmm.
Um, so she goes to live on a ranch where I can't remember if they're related to her. Is it her
I
auntie
think it
or
was
uncle?
her auntie and uncle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, it was like a cattle
Cattle ranch.
farm and bovine, like an animal farm kind of thing.
Yeah,
Cattle ranch, yeah, that was it. And
yeah, and
yeah, I have shoot. Well, sorry, anyway, go on. I'll let you tell them.
she's telling a story about how she failed to save some lambs from being slaughtered, and the performance here is fantastic when she's retelling the story. There's so many little details in her face, and it's just great. It's just the whole thing is fantastically done, and as I said, the dialogue is just brilliant. So she tells that
Mm.
story, and she couldn't save the lambs, and then Hannibal says, "You think if you save Catherine, you won't wake up in the middle of the night to the awful screaming of the lambs." And Hannibal himself is getting quite emotional in this kind of scene, and I think it's mainly because Hannibal loves the process of digging into someone's mind and discovering what's going on, and this is like a big payoff for him. He's like, that's it. I've kind of gotten to the root of this thing, and I think he just is in love with that process.
Yeah,
Without
you can tell he really revels in this uh,
Yes, yeah,
because he's been in prison. He probably hasn't had to do the psychiatry thing on anyone in a long time.
yeah,
So getting this information out of Clarice is probably like a birthday present to him because he has
yeah,
stuff to work with finally.
yes,
Because when he was in his cell, he was like drawing pictures and things like this, but he didn't have anyone to dig into like he's doing with Clarice. And
yeah,
yeah, he really enjoys it. You can tell because when she meets him in the cage, um,
yeah,
I don't know if we're at that scene yet, but when they're in the cage and she goes to him to try and find out where Buffalo Bill is.
yeah.
And the
That's
whole time he's just digging and digging and
yeah,
digging. And he takes over the entire dialogue to the
yes,
point where guards notice what's going on and she has to leave and she never even got to ask him where Buffalo Bill was, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Oh, it's so cleverly written. Like,
It's so good.
The way he can just take over the conversation like that. You ever be in a conversation with someone and you want to just ask them one thing, but they completely fucking distract you. You know?
Owen Quinn. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, you come on, you want to talk about, I don't know, Terminator, and he's talking about the weather in Belfast.
Yeah. I know it's that thing of like you're just desperate to get to the point of something, and they're just not letting you kind of get there. The whole scene is fantastic, and
Mm.
what do you think of Hannibal's escape plan? So Hannibal, he hatches this mad escape plan where he wears a man's face as a mask in order to escape, and there is some luck required in this sequence, but he pulls it off. Um, Also, it's interesting that what's his name? The guy we were talking about at the start, the guy who was flirting with Clarice and telling her the story about the nurse.
Yeah.
What was his name again? Chill.
The doctor?
Yeah, Chill.
Cheltenham or something. It's called. I can't remember his name. Actually, we're only after saying it a minute ago, but I've already forgotten.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but
The sleazy doctor
he's sleazy. I think it's Chilton. I have to scroll
from the
back up.
beginning, anyway. Yeah.
I scroll back up to my notes here. Chilton, Dr. Chilton. It's interesting to note that it's his kind of sloppiness that facilitates Hannibal escaping, because he left his pen in a place where Hannibal was able to take it and use it to escape. So,
Yeah.
Earlier he was telling Clarice about all the rules when you're around Hannibal, and he fucks up here. And it's, oh god, he's such a smug prick as well. But anyway, we'll get to that in a bit. But we'll focus on Hannibal's escape plan. What do you think of this whole sequence where Hannibal escapes wearing someone's face?
It's really clever. Like, his plan it's almost like he's thinking about it a while, but it's like he executes it so flawlessly that, like, we, the audience, don't even know how he done it until it's he has escaped, and we've to figure it out as well. And that's kind of how they play it, because there's the body in the top of the lift, right? And they think it's him, and
Yep.
meanwhile he's off escaping wearing someone else's face. Like, oh man, it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever.
No,
Again, I don't really have any criticisms on it, because it's such a high intensity moment, and
yeah.
yeah, I
And it's
love it.
good to see
It's hard to
Hannibal.
criticize.
It's good to see Hannibal in action, being brutal. Like, he's a vicious bastard.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that could have went wrong is if they discovered the body on the elevator early, then Hannibal might have been fooked. But
Also, I would say that the one thing that could have went wrong is that, like, if you cut someone's face off, right, and wear it as your own face, I don't think you
say that.
necessarily look like that person. You know, I think that you look like you're wearing a mask of that person's face.
Well, I think.
But, like, he's obviously good at it because he done it and he got away with it. So fair play to him, Hannibal. Like, he's
Well, I
very,
think
very crafty with his hands with the cutting off of the faces.
I think he could get away with it in the way that, like, the face is all slashed up. So you could think, oh, that's that guy with his face all cut up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminds me of Professor Pig. You know how he cut up faces and stuff. He's a
Yeah. And Hannibal
villain
even takes time, doesn't he?
he's a Batman villain, but
He
he did it. He had a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannibal takes time to, like, hang up a guy and make a big display out of him and all. So yeah, playing some mind games, just instilling fear in people.
Yeah, it's cool. I like how he there's a little detail where he ordered lamb chops as his meal, because Clarice was telling him about lambs.
Yes. Yeah, I meant
And,
to bring
it's
that
just
up. I forgot about that. Yeah.
it's just all the way through this film is full of little hints like that,
And does he draws a picture of Clarice holding a lamb as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love this thing as
And
well.
what is it? We're not quite there yet, but there is more symbolism to do with, like, lambs and, like, innocence and
Yeah.
and like the whole thing with Buffalo Bill and his obsession with butterflies and moths, you
and
know, like
rebirth and
yeah, because a butterfly is a very kind of innocent creature,
hmm.
and he's kind of obsessed with them. And even on the front cover of like the poster of this film, it's his face. I think it's his face anyway on the cover, and on his mouth is a butterfly. But on the butterfly, there's a skull made up of women's bodies. It's so detailed, man. The attention to detail is like
I believe
incredible.
is it
Like the amount of symbolism and stuff that they use.
Salvador Dali or something, I think. Is that what they used? Is it?
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
I heard that literally
Heard that.
today. I was just looking up pieces of trivia. Um and yeah,
Yeah, it's funny how Salvador Dali's artwork ended up like on the cover of this film.
of
You
the
know, it's
Silence of the
really
Lambs.
iconic poster.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Um
that's cool.
yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about Buffalo Bill. So he he kidnaps women, and he you know he has your one trapped down a well because he's getting her to put lotion on her skin and all that in that famous scene. It puts the lotion in the basket. But
Oh yeah,
he's taking her skin because Buffalo Bill wants to transform himself. And he this is another great performance. Ted Levine, who is in Monk. I couldn't believe it was the same person. It's like, oh yeah, Stottlemyre from Monk. Have you ever seen Monk?
oh shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh shit, right, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't piece that together myself now. So
Yeah.
you
So
just mentioned it, yeah.
when we first see Bill, he's wearing night vision goggles, and he's eyeing up this woman, and he I believe what's his name? I think it was Ted Bundy. He used to do this thing where he'd pretend to be hurt to lure people in to help him out, and then he'd kidnap them. I think it was him.
Yeah. Yeah, he used to like get like women to help him and he'd pretend to be struggling and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's how he'd catch them off guard and stuff, you know.
Yeah, so he's wearing this cast, and he's like pretending to
Yeah.
struggle getting this sofa
But
into
yeah,
the
once
back
you
of a
watch this bit
van,
with the
and he asks you one, oh, would you mind helping me with this? And then when she helps him out and gets in the van, he starts beating her, and he kidnaps her, and she turns out to be a senator's daughter.
yeah,
So
I'd just like to add like and this is another little hidden detail that I noticed is like when we first see this girl, I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but the senator's daughter, when we first see her,
Catherine.
she's driving a car and the shot is almost identical to the shot in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho of what's her name? The main woman in Psycho when
Yeah.
she's driving the car. It's like the shot is almost identical. And sure enough, she's like in the film in Psycho. If you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it, but there is a very famous shot, and it almost mirrors that, you know.
Oh, that's cool. I did. Yeah, that's a cool little detail. So yeah,
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
that's a nice
Just
bit of
thought,
nice bit of trivia. So yeah, ultimately the film's about them trying to capture Buffalo Bill, and I like the way that like the title of the movie is mainly referencing Clarice, not anything else that's going on around her. Like, the plot is they're trying to catch Buffalo Bill and all this stuff at Hannibal, but the story is really about her and overcoming her trauma of her past and stuff like that. It's great. But
yeah, it's a very like you could say it's a very deep seated title of the film
yeah.
because only if you've seen the film will you actually understand what it means.
I
Really.
remember when I was younger,
And it comes from their dialogue. It doesn't really like it'd be very easy to call this film Hannibal the Cannibal. You know what I mean?
or
But it's like
something like that.
they
Yeah.
call it Silence of the Lambs because the dialogue is just
yeah. Go for
so
it.
unique in it. Yeah.
I think in a in a lesser film with people who aren't very good at writing dialogue, you would have had lines with "You will finally silence them lambs, Clarice," or some shit like that. Oh God!
Man.
But
The lambs went to the Amazon when we were kids.
she was researching lambs in the Amazon right
Yeah,
before she died.
exactly. She was researching lambs in the Amazon.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. But I remember when I was younger.
Oh fuck, man! As long as me and you are alive, we'll never fucking forget those shitty lines from that film.
Oh
In case if you're not familiar, listeners, right? We reviewed Madam Web recently, and it's still just fucking scarred us to the point where it's just fresh.
we were saying before the recording that this movie and that movie, the dialogue quality is on two very opposite ends of a spectrum. Like this is
Oh, the spectrum is black and white. It's just black and white.
this
There's
is exactly
nothing
how
in
you
common.
do it, and that is exactly how you do not do dialogue, Madam Web. But
Correct.
yeah, I remember speaking of the title. I remember when I was younger and I heard of a film called Silence of the Lambs, and I thought that's a very almost goofy name for a movie. I thought when I was a kid, like that's like almost a silly name, but once you know what the movie's all about, it's like the perfect title.
Yeah, I imagine if you know nothing about this film and you just seen the poster, you'd be like, "What the hell is that about?" Because the film's called Silence of the Lambs, and it's a face and a butterfly on the poster. You're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah,
And then you watch it, you're like,
exactly.
"Holy shit!" You know?
That's
Yeah.
that's a butterfly on their mouth, not a lamb. They can't even get that right.
Yeah, I was like, it should be called Silence of the fucking Butterflies. Duh.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man, gotta get the
I
jokes in.
I guess we'll end with this movie has one of the best twists in movie history, I think. I believe
Go
this
on.
was the first one to do that whole bait and switch thing where so you have this whole build up where you think it's the agents who are going to break into Buffalo Bill's house because they found them and that Clarice is elsewhere. But it turns out that Clarice is actually at Buffalo Bill's house. And I just absolutely love how they pull that off. Remember when I first saw that, I was like,
Mm.
holy shit, oh my god, what a twist. And
And I would like to add, by the way, now that we're talking about the climax, I think this is the highest tension climax in a film like ever.
oh, it's
Like
certainly up
it's
there, yeah, for sure.
he has night vision goggles on, and she's in the dark, and
Mm,
she can't see him, and all you can see is Clarice just flailing with her gun, and it's just brilliantly shot, man. It's just so well done.
yeah.
Oh, I
Apparently
love
that
it.
bit where he
It's great.
reaches out and kind of brushes her hair, apparently that was improvised by the actor, which is pretty cool. Um,
Yeah.
and another bit that was actually I heard it was improvised was Anthony Hopkins making fun of her accent. And apparently the actress got really kind of rattled by that because she took it personally. You know, he's I can't remember what part of the country she's from, but he makes fun of her accent. And
Oh, I
apparently,
think it was like Montana. He
yeah,
was like
yeah.
Montana, Southern girl.
But
Yeah,
apparently
yeah.
that was improvised, and it really pissed her off at the time because she's
Ooh.
obviously an actor putting on this accent.
I'd say she didn't stay mad for too long though, given
No,
like,
no. But the end
given
result,
being part of this project, like, you'd be pretty
when it
you
leads
get
when it leads to a masterpiece like this, what do you
over.
care?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that twist and
Exactly.
how they build it up and how they pull it off. And I think many movies have tried to emulate this, but none have matched it, in my opinion. I think Saw, one of the Saw films, do a version of this, but it is just great, as is the entire film. And if you have not seen this film, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It is one of the best, one of my favorites. It's I have a I've recently put together my top 5 horror movies, and I know some people mightn't necessarily strictly count this as like pure horror or anything, but you know, it is very much in the horror category for me, and Hannibal being like a horror icon, but it's in my top 5 horror movies of all time for sure.
Yeah. And I would just add as well, it's very deeply psychological.
Yes.
So if you're kind of in any way kind of interested in how the human mind works, like this one is brilliant because he's a genius, but he's a cannibal. Like he already doesn't make sense as a person,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you just want to get to know him more and more. And he's not even on the screen for like, I think he only has like something crazy like 20 minutes of screen time in a 2.5 hour film, and he
Yeah.
just dominates it because the character's that well written and the lines are that well executed that you're just hooked every time he's on screen. He just takes over. It's
Yeah.
like he's that powerful of a character. Like you wouldn't want to know this guy, to be honest.
No,
Like you really wouldn't want to know him, but you want to know who he is.
I certainly,
Um,
certainly wouldn't want to sit down and have tea with him. No thanks.
oh no, Jesus Christ, no! You fucking you'd end up being the tea, like you know.
But that's a good point you make. Like for such little screen time to become that iconic is just incredible. Um, I think,
I like when films do that when they have their strongest character with like not so much like not everywhere in the film, you know.
yeah,
Um, like in the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow wasn't everywhere. You know what I mean?
there's some
He was just kind
characters
of here and
where
there. Yeah,
with some characters less is more,
yeah, definitely, yeah,
and
yeah.
this is one of
I agree.
those where you know he's on screen for just the right amount of time. And I remember there were some people worried that
Mm.
the performance was maybe too over the top. But Hopkins just makes it work really well. I think it's just brilliant.
No, they're idiots. It's not over the top. It's fine. It's a He's a mystery, like, and that's the whole deal. Like, he strikes you as a gentleman, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what's so weird
And
about him,
then he
you
suddenly
know.
reminds you that he's a
Um,
monster.
and it kind of makes you think, like, how many people have you met and you've had civilized conversations with, and then you watch something like this, and you're like, oh shit, look what he's capable of.
Yeah.
I have civilized conversations with people every day in work.
Yeah. But underneath, what are they like?
What is anyone capable of? Like, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
it's
great.
a yeah, it's a study. This one's a case study, you know. Yeah,
Yeah. Silence the Lambs, go watch it.
yeah.
It's fantastic. Do yourself a favor. I class this as an absolute masterpiece, must watch. And for anyone who is aspiring to be a writer, this is a great one to study, especially in terms of dialogue and back and forths and all that kind of lovely writer stuff. All right, Jack, thanks a million for jumping on and talking about
I
one of
would I
your.
would say the same thing to aspiring. Sorry, I would say the same thing to aspiring filmmakers. That this is a perfect example of one you should watch a few times and study it because the amount of hidden details and payoffs and the tension. Uh, if you're an aspiring filmmaker, this will set you up with good habits. A film like this,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think so. Anyway.
I haven't seen a movie of this quality in recent years, or I can't remember like what the last, in terms of modern movies, what the last really kind of masterful one I've seen was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but man, this is just fantastic.
Mm.
Right. Thanks everyone so much for listening. If you want to check out our shite, there will be links in the description. Go check out our work and like and follow and subscribe and all of that. And thanks again, Jack, for jumping on. This was great talking about the Silence of the Lambs.
No bother, Stephen. It was a privilege to do an absolute banger at last.
It
We
is
did
an
Wish
absolute.
Upon, we did Madam Web, and then we got this Silence of the Lambs.
It's been a mixed bag.
Oh, I like to think of it as the universe paying me back for having to review those.
Yeah, it's like, here's your reward,
Oh,
Jack.
anyway,
You have earned it.
thank you. I enjoyed doing this. This is good.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Tales of Centerverse. My next book, Triality, is in the scanning phase. All the primary artwork has been done. I'll just got to scan it and then send it to the printers. So that'll be out very soon. And I'm going to announce. I'm going to keep doing videos on social media. I know I keep saying I'm going to do it, but there's a lot of work to do. So the videos are coming. New book is coming on the way soon. Check out talesofcenterverse.com if you want to check out my first book. And yeah, follow me on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, that's me.
So
yeah, thanks for having me on again, Stephen. It's always
anytime.
good crack doing these.
If you want to follow me, it's at Stephen Carey Stories on Instagram. Go check it out and drop us some suggestions if you want us to cover anything in particular. I think next, what am I doing next? Myself and Owen might be doing Alien next. I'm not sure. It's been a while. We took a few weeks off, but we'll get back on track. All right, everyone, thank you so much for listening, and we will be back again really soon. Bye bye.